We as citizens, as workers, have a responsibility to know our true history. American history, and it's a history of struggle. Students, young people have done marches, have conducted strikes out of school, have been a part of the history of the United States, which allowed many good things, social events to happen, Social Security, Medicare, public education, and protecting public education, which right now today is in trouble. It's in trouble. But like we've already discussed, there are powerful interests in this country that do not want that to be taught in our schools. Because guess what? It would challenge the people who are now in power.
Technology is often hailed as a savior, improving lives through better communication, faster information, and more connectivity. But as technology grows, so does its footprint. Data centers, which store and process the data that powers everything from social media to shopping, are growing at an exponential rate, but these centers consume enormous amount of energy and resources. Activists are pushing us to confront the environmental and social cost of this growth. How much water, energy, and land are we willing to sacrifice for the convenience of our digital lives? More than just an environmental concern, data centers often highlight issues of corporate responsibility. The largest companies benefit from these digital infrastructures, but do they care for the communities that are impacted by their resource use?
My name is Bill Farmer. I'm a retired union representative throughout the state of Michigan, who worked for hospitals and cities and counties, our state prison system, any kind of public employee, which means I negotiated contracts on their behalf that gave them health care, wages, time off, work. So I've been an advocate for people my entire life. I had heard horror stories about data centers, catching fire, drying up aquifers. And the day before a public hearing in Pavilion Township, I heard about the zoning commission that was going to vote on allowing a piece of property for a data center to be built. Pavilion Township is an agricultural rural area, so there's a lot of farmers out there, and every single person that were there spoke against it, and they spoke against it with emotion and with intelligence. One person, older woman like my age, got up and said, our farm has been in our generations for 3 generations, and we want to protect farmland. This takes up farmland. We're totally against it. People got up and spoke to water concerns and pollution concerns. And it seemed at that meeting, nobody knew who the future owner of the data center was going to be. They had entered into an agreement not to share that information, or even to share the benefits that would come to the community. It was all secret. So that upset a lot of people, including me. Now, the flip side of that question is, what are the consequences of spending that money? Once it's built, successful using that money, what are the social, political, and economic consequences of that money being spent? And that's what's given rise to the movement that we all see from little townships like my township is Pavilion that are organizing to resist the construction of these data centers. Once they're built, they leave off gases that are harmful to the environment, harmful to animals, harmful to people that are in the surrounding area. They use enough electricity. This particular data center that they had planned to build in Pavilion is a hyper data center, which is the top of the line of technology of data centers, which means It can use as much as 5 million freshwater gallons every day of its operation to cool the chips that perform the operations of the data center. They also consume, this data center, consume enough electrical energy off our electrical grid that would service a city of over 250,000. There are other consequences to data centers that impact young people. And it has actually led to measurable, scientifically measurable incidences of higher psychological problems amongst youth in the United States and generally in Western society, including Europe. And it's measurable from 2010 when smartphones became widely available. And the measurement is measured by visits to psychiatric wards in emergency rooms of young people in psychological crisis that lead to self-harm and or suicide, successful suicide and attempted suicides. And this is rampant throughout the United States. And of young people actually developing the capability to think critically. Nobody's going to be coming and be our savior. We've got to organize. And that's something that is not taught in our schools. Our whole history in this country is a history of social struggle that has accomplished what we have right now. Build a social movement that accomplishes what you need to be accomplished, whether it's healthcare, food, education, clean water, clean air, whatever it is, transportation. Organize.